We're following some breaking news out of Florida, where Governor Ron DeSantis has declared a state of emergency after a reservoir containing hundreds of millions of gallons of wastewater is leaking and may be on the brink of collapse. The leak just south of Tampa has already forced hundreds of residents to evacuate. And last hour, the governor told reporters his biggest concern right now is flooding.
What we're looking at now is trying to prevent and respond to, if need be, a real catastrophic flood situation. The water quality issues that are flowing from this for us is less than the risk of everyone's health and safety, particularly folks who may live in the area.
Let's go to NBC's Sam Brock, who's joining me right now from Palmetto, Florida. Sam, with a welcome to you. So let's talk about the primary concern at this point. The governor outlined both of them, but is it flooding, or might it be what's actually in the water?
We had heard so many reports, Alex, for days about there being radioactive elements in some of those water supplies, not the one that's currently leaking, which is the southern reservoir, but two other ponds, man-made ponds that are adjacent to it. Today, we were told that that's not correct, that there is not levels or elevated levels of radium that would warrant danger in terms of exposure to radioactivity. They said that there's a nutrient problem in the water, which is to say there's too much nitrogen and too much phosphorus, too much ammonia, that if it got out would be an issue environmentally, but not one that would rise to the level of radioactive exposure. So that contradicts what we heard. But what Governor DeSantis said was they are still preparing right now for potential catastrophe. As you look over my shoulder, this road is blocked off. This is the evacuation zone. It goes about 1.5 miles north from where I am in Manatee County, 1 mile south of the site, and then 1 mile east of the site. Within that zone, there are 316 homes that were told to be evacuated. The reason being, if there is a breach, Alex, and some of the good news here is that we started at 480 million gallons of water in that southern reservoir. It's now down to about 350, according to the county, and it's quickly accelerating in terms of how much they can get out and how fast. That's coming down. But if it were to breach right now, let's say, the county administrator says it would be somewhere in the range of a 15 to 20-foot wall of water that would come gushing out into the adjacent community. We know, according to sources there, that not everybody has heeded the warning and left when they were told to get out. There's definitely some people that are staying behind. You can tell people there's a Category 5 hurricane coming. Doesn't mean they're going to respond accordingly. But as far as the radioactive elements or lack thereof in this water, that did come up at the press conference. Here's what they had to say.
But to be clear, the water being discharged to Port Manatee is not radioactive. It is primarily salt water from the Port Manatee Dredge Project, mixed with legacy process water and stormwater runoff.
And DeSantis and all the folks with environmental protection said that all of this water has been tested and will repeatedly continue to be tested as they discharge it. One other point I'd like to make, Alex, there is a natural gas facility in the evacuation zone that I'm told supplies power to potentially millions of customers in the state of Florida. That's another big concern. Beyond just the flooding and loss of property, what's going to happen to that plant if you do see a 20-foot high wave of water gush out, and how many people potentially would be impacted? I'm trying to drill down an answer from the gas company and from the county about that. So far, I have not received details. We're going to keep at it. But right now, everyone's kind of on pins and needles. Lastly, in terms of how long this could go on for, originally, they said it would take 12 days to drain all of the water from that reservoir. With the acceleration right now, the additional pumps that have been brought in, I think now we're looking at an estimate of maybe 4 to 5 days. If they can buy that 4 to 5 days, perhaps you can avoid catastrophe here. It is truly a race against time.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.